Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Daniel. This is Jonathan. Today we are back with Death Note episode 18.
Yes, ocho.
There's a lot of episodes in this one season,
Maybe
so it's gonna take a while. Yeah, maybe we could do that. Yeah. Last time on Death Note, so first they had this really extravagant plan to see whether or not these were the two Kiras,
Right.
which it worked to their favor, the Misa and Light, because they don't know that they were Kiras.
Right. They relinquished rights or ownership to the Death Notes, and along with that went the memories, and they truly do not know that they were a
and it's fully
Kira.
genuine. So they knew, and they don't, obviously L doesn't know that, Yagami doesn't know that, but he went as far as like acting like he's gonna shoot his own son. And then
crazy.
And he even said, I'll shoot you, then I'll shoot myself.
Right.
And
it's over
and
here.
they were really literally legitimately freaking out.
Yeah.
So L is just like,
Yeah. I think he's kind of at a dead end. He's like, I felt I was pretty solid. I had good leads here. And then now it's like
everything unravels. And not only that, Light's acting
different.
completely different. So maybe that'll get him to get to the point where he's like, there's something else. He's going to figure out somehow.
right. Something's going to tip him off.
Yeah.
I also think though, because who has ownership of the Death Note now?
Yeah. We got it. That's, I'm curious because I lose track. We have this group, this round table of businessmen, right?
Yep.
And they have, I guess the Death Note that they would have, since Rem is there, it's at the one that,
I think it's the one that Misa relinquished rights to ownership, because I remember at the beginning of the last episode, it started out with, what's Shinigami? Ryuk. It started off with Ryuk, Rem, and
yes, they're all
Light.
like out.
They're all, and he
coming up with a plan.
and he's telling Rem, "I wish to relinquish the rights, whatever."
When I say this certain,
Well, no,
right. Yeah,
before that,
and she flies away.
Now, somewhere there, though, we didn't see exactly
The plan.
what happens, but it almost seems like, and we got the mid-credit information card that they can lend or sublend the Death Note, which I think that's what they did, what he ends up doing with Misa's, because again, Rem is there, but then also, if you remember, when Light was imprisoned,
Yeah.
there was a period of time where there was no killings, and then all of a sudden the killings started again, and it showed a scene with Rem and some guy that she subletted.
That's right, behind him,
riding and going
doing
off
all that stuff. Yeah.
So the guy who it was sublet to, I think, is one of the businessmen that's at that round table. Now it sounds like he's already shared that he owns it, and you know what it can do.
They don't know who is
right.
Who has it somehow.
Yeah.
So that's the part that I'm not sure, and it benefits them. And at some point, we were talking about, at some point they're going to have to come back into the know, or become, owners of Death Notes again, or at least I know Light would have planned for that.
Correct.
And his right now is buried out in the forest somewhere, but he probably again put like instructions,
right, for himself or something,
to
remind him of it.
Right. Man, see, I don't know. That's like a whole twist. But the whole thing right now is L built a skyscraper for this mission.
Yep, for them to
for this case, and so they're all there, and Light's like super, like what's the word? Motivated to catch Kira. Himself, but he doesn't know it's himself now.
Right.
So the way he approaches this investigation is gonna be totally different now.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be fun to kind of see the steps he takes to kind of. He's in essence chasing after himself, not knowing it, and then once he quote unquote catches himself, what does he do at that point?
Well, and the part is like, what memories does he retain exactly? Because he has memories. He has to have memories of working with L in the past, but they must have been all the so everything that he said to L before, it was him as L and Kira thinking at the same time,
trying to throw L off.
So now he probably remembers what he said to L in the past, but not with the lens of pretending to not be Kira, just with the lens of him just being Light and telling him.
Correct.
That's how his memory remembers it, right?
I think so.
It's really
that's
confusing.
my understanding, because he would have lost all memories of it.
Then he would have been like, "Well, I don't remember talking to you about it." Then it's a little more on the nose.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious to see how this whole sublet thing works, and whether or not they'll get the death notes back, and if so, how?
Yeah,
what they planned.
I also I'm interested in hearing the internal dialogue of Light to kind of see where he is at mentally, memory wise, and stuff like that. That'll be interesting.
Oh, right, yeah. We haven't heard his internal dialogue since he's become unaware.
Uncured.
Uncured. Yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and hop in, guys. Before we do, please consider subscribing to our channel. Full-length reactions over on our Patreon, as well as early access to future episodes. You want to go ahead and hop over and check those out. But we're going to jump into episode 18.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Oh, dang. Super high-tech security.
Wow.
Retina scan. Fingerprint.
Dang, they leveled way up.
Looks like this system is going to take some getting used to.
Rings.
Surveillance cameras, huh? Well,
oh yeah, he's
we know
gonna be
Misa has some connection to
That's
the
right.
Kira. I guess it does make sense.
This has got to be the lamest date I've ever been on.
No, please, just pretend I'm not even here, okay? By the way,
I'll just close the curtains and turn off the lights.
we have infrared cameras in here as well.
What's wrong with you?
Actually, I'm depressed.
Depressed? What for?
Truthfully, all this time I thought that you were Kira, and my entire case hinged on that fact. Although having said that, I'm still suspicious of you. That's why we're wearing these. Means it's highly likely that Kira was controlling your actions so that I would suspect you. If I assume both you
We're both Kira during the time that we were being controlled, right?
Yes, I don't think I could have been wrong about that.
So you gotta let them be on their own then.
Kira. I can only conclude that Kira's power passes between people.
I mean, he's not wrong,
Interesting
technically.
idea. But if it's true, it'll be nearly impossible for us to catch Kira.
Even if we catch someone under his control, they'll likely lose their powers and any memory of their crimes.
But he doesn't know that they have to relinquish it.
Pursuing them, it's probably better if I just stop trying so hard.
Ryuzaki.
Huh?
Oh! And then he knocks himself.
What was that?
It's like knock some sense into him.
Yeah, no, that really hurt.
That's enough. You don't feel like doing anything. Just because your genius deduction was wrong and I'm not Kira?
And that's like him genuinely saying that too.
The wrong way.
If you were just gonna give up, then why did you involve all those innocent people? And more importantly, what was the point of putting Misa and me behind bars?
I understand.
Oh, he's gonna
Oh.
an eye for an
An
eye.
eye for an eye, an eye for an eye.
This gonna knock him over too.
Yep.
Jeez.
I can say that Light Yagami is Kira, and Misa Amane is the second Kira, but it won't be enough to solve the case.
It's as if you won't be satisfied unless I am Kira.
I won't be. Well, there may be some truth to that. I think I wanted you to be Kira.
Because everything led to that, and
I'm a lot stronger than I look, you know.
We've gotta call the room and stop them!
Yes?
Ryuzaki, I've got good
he's
news.
like, yes.
Misa.
Oh, they're gonna
All
pin
of
it on them.
Prominent Japanese businessmen, CEOs whose companies are leaders in their respective industries. In just over a month, they all died of heart attacks. Their deaths have worked in Yotsuba's favor.
Okay.
Based on this, I can only conclude that Kira is supporting Yotsuba.
But if what you're saying is true, we can assume that punishing criminals is not this Kira's real intent.
Punishing
kid is.
criminals is a Are you feeling a bit more motivated now?
Okay, the borrower of a death note will not be followed by a god of death. Oh, okay. The god of death always remains with the owner of the death note. Also, the borrower cannot trade the eyesight of the god of the death. So they just have like a
Different
little
rules.
Yeah, it's a little less powerful.
Okay.
It's almost like you have like the primary owner, then you have the authorized user.
It's like an example of that I gave when I was traveling valet mode. It's like you don't have the full functions of.
That's true of the car,
Of the
or like you
vehicle.
get a credit card and you hand it to your spouse, but they get the authorized user version, so they don't get all the same benefits. Similar to that.
Yep,
That's how
that too.
So okay, so then whenever I saw Ram in the business meeting, I assumed she was there as the current owner.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it is still the owner because I don't know. I forget. But then
Maybe they can't see the death or Ram.
No, I don't think they can. I think
The
she was.
borrower.
So then, I think she was just there on her own
Okay.
as part of like a master plan that was put together.
Yeah.
So another one. When the owner of the death note dies while the note is being lent, its ownership will be transferred to the person who was holding it at that time. Okay.
So if Light died,
then whoever has it
borrowed,
yes,
becomes the owner.
Becomes the owner. Correct. Yeah.
Everything appears to be proceeding according to plan.
And so now,
those 3 we had killed last week, why did all of them die of heart attacks? I thought we agreed one would be accidental.
Problem was that we named a specific location in Japan. You see, he wasn't even here when he died.
If our request is physically impossible, then
Kira will kill that person using his default method, a heart attack.
Given Kira's history, the police are probably still focused on the dying criminals. If someone was able to trace the deaths of these people back to us, then he'd have to be a god. Besides, we've taken precautions.
Light has a theory that Kira is somehow involved with the Yotsuba Group. Can you believe it?
Yotsuba? We just spoke with the director, and it seems Kira has offered bribes to a number of politicians.
As long as the NPA agrees not to pursue him anymore, he won't lay a hand on any politicians.
Oh.
Mogi and I
the NPA National Police Association?
Yep.
If you wish to continue working this case, you'll have to hand in your letter of resignation to the NPA, just as Mogi and I are going to do.
Oh, wow.
Like it or not, if you continue to work with Elle, you'll be fired. In a few hours, I'm no longer going to be your chief.
Dang.
However, we all have our own lives, so think it over carefully.
That's crazy.
Especially if you've got a family to support.
Oh, right. Remember?
You'd be better off as police officer. I know that I can do this by myself. I'll be sure to visit you at the department and bring you Kira's head as a reward for all that you've sacrificed.
As long as I'm alive, you won't be working alone.
Well, he technically can.
You have my word on that.
I mean, you have a choice, buddy.
Right.
You're chained to him.
Besides, with all due respect,
What's he eating now? Jelly beans?
With 2 or 3 civilians and the police as an organization.
We're all personally involved in this. All of us have risked our lives to catch Kira.
And by all means, please make your decision.
I'll have to dust off my resume.
Count me in. Besides, if I stayed on as a police officer, I'd feel like a total loser.
Think before you open your mouth, Matsuda.
Yeah, it's a tough call for him.
Yeah, he's got a family to feed.
If you remain a police officer, then please don't come back here. You're free to pursue Kira on your own if you want to. But I don't think it's fair to your families to burden them by giving up your life.
Especially him.
Right.
What kind of friend would I be to Ukita if I quit now? I became a detective so I could catch the bad guys, not run away!
Early on in the investigation, you specifically told me that if a task force member were to lose their job under any circumstances, I should make preparations
to ensure that their family's financial future was secure.
This is not the time or place.
He spoke over him.
Sorry.
There you go, Aizawa. Isn't that great news?
Feels lied to now.
I assume that was some kind of test to determine how committed I was to this task force.
It's not like that, Aizawa.
I was testing you. I wanted to see which one you would choose.
If I wasn't sure before, I am now.
But Aizawa...
I wasn't able to decide right away like you guys.
Right.
I was leaning towards going back to the police.
So he's gonna stick with it.
I quit. I've always hated Ryuzaki. I hate him and his way of doing things.
That's too bad, because I like you, Aizawa.
I also hate the way you've always got to have the last word. That's it. I'm out of here.
Thank you for everything.
It's messed up.
He didn't want to tell him that he had money
set aside for them.
After going over this again, I noticed something. All the deaths which are beneficial to Yotsuba are concentrated around the weekends.
This is a really important clue, Dad. Nice work.
Well, you know, I can't let myself fall behind you and Ryuzaki.
But we'll proceed under the assumption that this is Kira's doing. We will focus on Yotsuba.
That's 300,000 people.
What?
How did you put this together so quickly?
300,000?
That's amazing, Mogi.
300,000 employees?
Who are they?
Oh.
Who are they? Hold on a sec. Who let them in?
Right.
Those 2 are the newest members of the task force.
Oh, interesting.
My name's Iber. I'm a con man. How's it going?
I'm Weddy, and I'm a thief by trade.
A thief and a con man.
We'll use him for infiltration. As for Weddy, she's a thief who specializes in cracking high-end security systems. As proof of that, she was able to enter the building without setting off a single alarm.
Nice.
To investigate Yotsuba, we're gonna need the help of people like this.
What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be at work right now? You need to tell me if you're planning to be home for dinner.
From now on, I can have a break every single week. Now I can go with you to the park.
Oh, man. He hates that he left. He left that unfinished.
Yeah. But I think it's also kind of like a joy thing that he gets to spend time with family.
Oh, wow.
Kind of both, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I can see that. It's
after
like
having been away for so long and having had that fight the night before, whatever that was, days before.
Yeah, it could be that too, or a combination of both things. Yeah, I think he seemed really passionate about leaving that unsolved. Like he was even willing to die to be on that case and to solve it.
I just don't know if they can solve it because it almost feels like I mean, I said you're not really chasing a person, you're chasing
a concept, a moving target,
right? Something that passes its powers through people.
Yeah, and they're working their way towards now instead of before it was like chasing Light as Kira,
right?
And now all the rules have kind of changed. So now instead of chasing Kira, a person, you're now chasing the floating, jumping around Kira,
right?
So you're like now narrowed it down to like this company and tied to the company. But even if like El said, even if he gets really close, who's to say it's just going to jump to the next person? So you're just kind of chasing someone, and eventually, and you know, this is all without El knowing that the only way that Kira can move from one person to another person is if the person themselves kind of relinquish it.
And or I mean, let's just say they do catch the person who's in possession of the death note. He just, you know, confesses, I have a death notebook that I can do this and do that, and there's powers granted, so set forth.
Yeah.
And then while he's in prison, gets time, he still has a Shinigami God. He doesn't have his notebook, but he has his Shinigami God. At that point, he can say, hey, I relinquish the rights, or let this person borrow it, you know, and do kind of that motion. Or once he dies, then
it automatically
goes back to.
Man, I was just thinking, this is kind of random, but like if they get their death notes back, is it okay? They relinquish the death note. This is the part that is a little confusing, and maybe you can help me out. If they relinquish the death note, does that mean they are no longer the primary owners of the death note? Which means if they get the death note back, it's like a clean slate. It's new again. They have to kind of learn all the rules again. For one, I don't know if they don't regain memories.
I think so. I mean, that sounds kind of right. But
if Misa wants the eyes again, does she have to cut her life in half again? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is everything reset? Because he didn't regain the years back. Granted, she inherited the years from that Shinigami, so she could have had hundreds of years technically. So she could have maybe can afford to split her life line again. But it's not clear to me yet. There was 2 death notes at one point, and right now one of the death notes is in possession of someone from the Yotsuba Group.
Right.
But the other one is not owned by anybody, I guess. And I'm assuming that's Light's, which is buried.
Well, right. No. The one that's being borrowed?
Buried.
Oh, buried.
Because Light told Ryuk to
relinquish rights, yeah.
He relinquished the rights, then he buried it next to a tree.
Yeah, because remember when Misa relinquished her rights, Light had two death notes.
Yeah, you're right.
So he gave her
because he touched it
death note to him, and then
he relinquished it.
I think I can't remember the word he used, but he gave it to Rem, or he, relinquished it. It was right, I think. But he relinquished it to Rem, and this is where it kind of is gray because we don't know what the conversation was before, right? Why this guy has it
Even
now.
if you sublet it to that person, if you do that and you relinquish it.
Well, I think he just sublet that one and then he relinquished his, meaning he still has one where he's the original owner or the owner of.
And he never got.
So he relinquished his, but still, so he was in possession of both notes.
So he's technically still the owner of Rems, but relinquished Ryuk, so he no longer has the memory of Ryuk.
Correct.
Of being that Kira.
Yeah.
But he's still technically a Death Note owner.
Right.
But from scratch, technically, so that's why he doesn't have any memories. And whereas Misa lost her memories because she just relinquished it altogether. And I don't think there was any way he was able to. Was she able to also see? She could see Ryuk as well.
Yeah, because she touched his.
So then technically.
But she wasn't the owner of his. When she was tied up in jail, she relinquished her rights and gave her death note to Light. So then Light became the owner of both of those. He sublet the one with Rem out to these people at Yotsuba and then relinquished his rights to the one that he has buried.
But she also had touched it So then how do we know it's not sublet to her and that Yotsuba Group?
Well, because I think when she touched Light, it doesn't give her ownership. It just allows her to see his Shinigami God.
So then how did he get ownership of the book when she relinquished?
Because she gave him the book. She remember Rem was in the jail with her and convinced her to give her Death Note to Light. So then Light had two. He sublet Rem's Death Note and gave up.
Right. So that's why.
Right.
Because I was trying to figure out a situation where they both were co-sublenders of each other's.
Oh yeah, no.
But it's just
right.
Light.
Correct. Okay. Now, my thought here, because of the information card we got at the beginning, is he could technically, in a way, pin it on the Yotsuba Kira who has the Death Note.
Yeah.
Once he dies, once he's killed, then the Death Note comes back to the owner based off that information card, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's right. It comes back to the owner, and at that
point he has it again.
He has it again, the physical book.
Correct. But memories and all of that, I don't know.
Right. Well, they weren't his memories to begin with. If it's Rem.
True.
And so then, if she comes back with the book, then like he's doing this whole thing, and then he sees like a Rem just flying around, and he's like, because he technically could probably still see her,
right?
If that's the case, right?
Yeah.
And so at some point he'll get Rem back, and he'll be like, wait, maybe it is me again, and
that's where it kind of is gray. Is once he possesses the Death Note back, does he kind of just realize, oh, I was Kira, or he just like, oh, it's all over again, like you said.
Right. The thing is, he became Kira because he got the book and was learning all the things he could do, and then social justice and all this stuff.
Yeah.
He still thinks that way, but if he gets that book back again in different circumstances, right, especially in the middle of him trying to find
Kira,
then maybe he approaches it very different, even if he keeps it from L.
Right. Surely there's going to be an episode where we get some information on that, like what the plan was in the subletting it and how it all came to be.
I know. That's going to help probably clear up a lot of
it. I agree.
But all right, good episode. We'll see what happens next. They're just now starting to get close to figuring out where the Death Note is now with the Yotsuba Group. So, and they think that they're safe because they've taken precautions.
Right.
What are the precautions? We don't know. But we'll maybe find out in the next episode. So,
and I think Mogi goes back at some point.
He can't. He's not gonna be able to take it anymore.
No, you don't think so?
Mogi, the guy who left.
Yeah. I think he goes back.
No, I don't think he'll be able to take it not being there anymore.
Oh yeah. He'll go back to the investigation somehow.
Well, and now he knows that they have like a.
You can't wipe his memory.
A trust, right? Yeah, so he's gonna be like, well, I mean, I guess I could go back. Yeah. They didn't say anything about if you leave now, you can't ever come back.
Correct.
So, all right, guys, that's all I got for today. So please consider subscribing if you haven't. Full interactions are on our Patreon, as well as early access to future episodes. You want to check those out. But we'll be back in a few days with episode 19. So until then, we will catch you on the next one. Peace.